Hello everyone, this is Moe Ash, founder of the Catalyst for Learning Solutions. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about branching scenarios using Milanote. But before we dig deep into what is Milanote and how we can use it, let's talk about branching scenarios first. A branching scenario is basically a story that you tell to your learners in an interactive format where they deal with consequences and they start to learn through the story itself. But in order for us to build an actual branching scenario that makes sense, whether it will be linear or non-linear, we need to understand the structure of a story. 150 years ago, Gustav Freytag created a universal story structure, and most stories actually circulate around that structure. The structure is exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and at the end, denouement or closure. Now, the exposition is where you put up your background, the setting of the story, the main narrative, the major players that are in the story, and also you put and you place the primary conflict, the problem, and how it's identified and connected to one of the major players in your story. At the end of it, there's an enticing event that occurs and spurs the events into action. Moving into rising action. The rising action is where obstacles are introduced, which frustrates the major players and pushes them into how am I going to be solving that problem. These obstacles are extremely important for creating that dramatic tension that you want in your branching scenario or in your story. Moving on to climax is where the problem and the solution are identified, and the major players either succeed or they fail. And this is the key turning point, the pivotal point of your story. Afterwards, you go into the falling action or the end, where the problem is either resolved or considered in the light of the previous events, and any remaining mysteries in the scenarios are basically revealed, and this is where the learning comes to play. Now, let's get into Milanote. Milanote is a tool for creative projects. And you can look at it as a way to aggregate and organize in a visual format all of your events, your to-do lists, and whatever that you want to list out in a neat and clean manner. Nevertheless, when it comes to branching scenarios can sometimes get tedious and events can overlap. And if you're doing it in a Word document, it can get a bit confusing. And you need a visual representation that can show you how all of the events are coming to play. Plus, you need a way to send it to your subject matter expert, client, focal point, so they can see your visual representation and even give comments upon it. This is why I use Milanote a lot when I'm creating a branching scenario for an escape room, a game, or for e-learning. Let me show you how we could do it. Since we've established what Milanote is, now you need to create your account on app.milanote.com. And over there, you'll be presented with the home canvas. Now, the home canvas is fairly simple and it's dependent on dragging and dropping. To start off, you can drag a note, you can drag a link, you can drag a to-do list where you'll be putting different tasks. Also, you can put a collection where you can plant all of what I've just been mentioning in one column to aggregate them in one place. Also, you could leave a comment and you can sketch, you can color, you can put documents, you can put audio, you can put maps, geolocations basically, a video, or even put headers and titles for each and every point across the canvas. Also, you can add an image from your hard drive. You can upload any data like a PDF or a PowerPoint that you want to put on the side just for referencing. And even you can draw. If you're using Milanote from an iPad or a tablet of some form, you can actually sketch and you could put your drawings into it. But to make this easier, let's start from a template. And here you need to click on board. Drag it, open it, and here you'll be presented with different templates. You have project plan templates, mood boards, agency, and obviously you can type down storyboard and you can find storyboards for websites, for videos, for events, for game design, and definitely you can find a generic storyboard that you can play with. This is if you're going to be starting from a template where you will be creating your own storyboard. But for the sake of this video, and since we've already talked about Gustav Freytag's universal storage structure, this is the storyboard structure that I usually use, call it a template, and I send it to my clients, to my subject matter experts to help in my e-learning development. Let's double click on it and you'll be presented with the following. Here you have the project name, the terminal objective, the enabling objective, and I've color-coded the different notes that I'll be using in my branching scenario. Green is for prime choice, yellow is for average choice, red for unacceptable choice, and if I'm adding a video, I color-code it with purple. If I'm adding an audio, I color-code it with blue. And obviously you can change those colors by just clicking on the node and changing the card color. Moving into the template that I use, here I've laid out the storage structure of Gustav Freytag, the exposition, the rising action, the climax, and the falling action, and here are all of the choices that will come to play. If you're choosing a prime choice, the story will move from one part to the other, but if you're going to be choosing an average choice, you will deal with average consequences, an average ending to it, and a choice for trying again. So you can repeat the story from the exposition and try a better choice to it. If you go into an unacceptable choice, you get unacceptable consequences, an unacceptable ending. You try again and you start all over. And this keeps on moving in from each and every structure of our story, rising, climax, all the way to falling action. This way, I am mapping out specifically and accurately what I want to do. And also, it's a helpful tool to send to your client if they want to get to know more information about how the entire branching scenario will come to play, or actually how the entire narrative of your story would look like. After you're done with all of that, just go to the export section and you can download it as a PDF. You can convert it in a Word document, not really recommended. And you can also download it in the form of images. But if you're aiming towards your client to set some comments or to give you like feedback on what you need, then go to the share button. And here you can put down the email of the client that you want to send to, or you can simply send them a link. But this link is for editors. So you can send this maybe to your developer or someone in your team that can help you with finishing your storyboard. Usually what I send to my clients is the enable read only, and I activate here, allow comments and reactions. And you can even leave a welcome message where you can explain the entire story. You can explain the entire concept to your client before they get into your storyboard. After you're done, you can also put a password so you can make it safe and secure for only your client to see it. And once you're done, just copy the link, put it in an email, and send it to your client.